Joining us for analysis is the Executive Director of Scholars for Peace in the Middle East, Dr. Asaf Romirowsky, and Director of Military Strategy Programs at the Middle East Forum, retired Lieutenant Colonel Eric Navarro. Welcome to both of you.
Good morning. Thank you.
Gentlemen, so Asaf, I'm going to start with you, sir. The UN also condemned Israel's attack on a terrorist enclave in Qatar. When the U.S. takes out a terrorist group, seems to me like Osama bin Laden, the world has applauded. But when Israel kills terrorists in Qatar, the UN is condemning. Talk to me about this double standard that is so glaring when it comes to Israel's effort to annihilate terrorism in the region.
Well, to your point, there's an ongoing evergreen double standard with every action that Israel takes. The fact that Hamas itself is seen as a force of good, the fact that individuals and the United Nations in particular believe the Ministry of Health of Gaza as if it's not a terrorist organization. But to your point is exactly correct. Israel is dealing with an Islamist jihadi organization, yet when Israelis take actual action, this is the first time Israel took action in Qatar, even though it was unsuccessful. The fact of the matter is that up until now, to date, the Israelis have avoided going into Qatar to allow the negotiations to continue because Qatar has been playing it both ways, even though it's one of the largest patrons of 10-7 and allowed all this to happen, though somehow we have sanitized them and given them a pass. So I think that that's, critical to understand. But the fact of the matter is that there has to be consequences for their actions. The fact that, Hamas leadership is entirely living their lavish lifestyles in Doha with no consequences, and the fact that Qatar has been pouring billions of dollars into American education, K through 12 and higher education, trying to buy goodwill and support amongst the American public, winning the hearts and minds according to their narrative. That's also part of their strategy.
That is a really good point, the influence of that and other countries on what our children are learning. Eric, the UN is still pushing a two-state solution, a Palestinian state. Why is that preposterous?
It's just virtue signaling. It's just pure nonsense, and it should be ignored. I think they do this knowing that there's nothing to gain from it or nothing that will happen from it. They say it's non-binding. If you notice, the resolution also included the right of return. That's a non-starter. That means that they're looking to eliminate Israel, right? Every time that they or the Western countries like France and Britain condemn Israel, they're just showing their impotence. They're just virtue signaling. They have their own domestic issues, large influx of Muslim immigrants that are affecting their domestic politics, and I believe that that's what they're playing for.
Do you mean that Muslims in France are pushing France to be anti-Zionist?
Yes, and
Let's just spell
there's
it
been
out.
a significant influx of Muslim immigration throughout those countries that has impacted their domestic policies.
We're seeing it right here in New York City as well.
Yeah, with this particular mayor's race, for sure, it's a threat to Western civilization is what it is. But Dr. Romirowsky, I want to ask you, so we see signs all the time, free Palestine, and all I can ever think is, yeah, they probably do need to be freed from Hamas, which is exactly what Netanyahu is attempting to do. But Israel was also condemned for expansion into those settlements in the West Bank, to which Netanyahu replied, "This place is ours." That is a bold statement. Tell me about the strategy there. What's the end goal for Netanyahu? How do we get peace to the region? What are the next steps? And what does that statement do in terms of moving the needle in the region for peace?
Well, let's be clear. First of all, these are disputed lands. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the debate historically about the peace process to begin with, which is nowhere in the fantasy of a two-state solution, has been a conversation about mutually agreed upon land swaps. This land was, of course, has been historically the ancestral Jewish homeland, Judea and Samaria and the West Bank. And so if there is any kind of conversation, it's about agreed upon. Palestinians refuse to agree to any of these conversations. They want to replace Israel, whether by demographics or by land. What you're seeing now within this conversation at large, I think that this idea of trying to parachute a two-state solution, a recognition of a Palestinian state, is also coming on the heels of the Doha conversation and whether or not they can, move the Arab world into a conversation about talking about something. But, again, rewarding, and I agree with the Netanyahu statement, the idea that you're going to reward Hamas with a two-state or statehood at large is a fallacy. I mean, there's nobody to have a partner with. And so, and Palestinians, for that matter, Arab Palestinians, have refused to have any direct negotiations with the Israelis, and they use institutions like the United Nations to try to create the fallacy of statehood without actually doing the work.
Eric, Israel has been pounding Gaza City for several weeks now in an effort to move in and take control. What's the end game? Will they get the hostages back this way?
I'm pessimistic. I've been pessimistic about the hostages for a long time now. But again, the operation is necessary. They have to defeat and destroy Hamas. Otherwise, if they leave any remnants after this operation, Hamas will just simply reconstitute. So they need to seize and hold the ground and govern that area and secure that area for the near, mid, and long term. And then again, they need to take advantage of President Trump being the most pro-Israel president in our lifetime and seek generational change in the region. Right? They have to change the dynamic once and for all. Otherwise, we'll just be right back here in several years.
Yeah, such a good point. Well, Dr. Romirowsky, Colonel Navarro, thank you so much. We're going to be keeping a close eye on all the latest Middle East developments. Thanks, guys.